In the heart of the galaxy, on the spaceship Celestial Voyager, Captain Zara Quinn grappled with an unusual mission. She had been tasked with ensuring the survival of Nira, an alien girl from the planet Aris. Nira's people, the Aurans, faced a dire predicament. Without intimate contact with humans, they would enter a state of irreversible hibernation, leading to their eventual demise. As Nira's time was running out, Zara knew she had to act swiftly. Zara stood on the bridge of the Celestial Voyager, staring out at the vast expanse of stars. Her ship was a marvel of human engineering, a blend of sleek design and formidable firepower. Yet, at this moment, the advanced technology seemed inadequate for the task at hand. "Captain, we've received the latest medical data from Dr. Ilara," said Commander Tariq, her first officer, breaking her reverie. "It confirms the severity of Nira's condition." Zara nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. "We need to find a way to integrate Nira into the crew without causing panic. The Aurans are counting on us." Tariq glanced over at Nira, who stood quietly in the corner of the bridge. Her luminescent skin and large, expressive eyes marked her as distinctly alien. Yet there was a vulnerability about her that stirred a protective instinct in Zara. "We'll make it work," Tariq said firmly. "The crew will understand once we explain the situation." Zara hoped he was right. The Celestial Voyager was more than just a ship. It was a microcosm of humanity's hopes and dreams. Integrating Nira into their tight-knit community would require diplomacy and empathy, qualities Zara had honed over years of command. "Attention, crew," Zara's voice echoed through the ship's intercom. "We have a new mission of utmost importance. Please gather in the main hall for a briefing." As the crew assembled, Zara felt the weight of their expectations. They were a diverse group, each with unique skills and backgrounds. Lieutenant Riva, a seasoned pilot with a sharp tongue, stood next to Dr. Ilara, whose calm demeanor belied her vast medical knowledge. The engineers, scientists, and soldiers all looked to Zara for guidance. "Thank you all for coming," Zara began. "We have a guest aboard, Nira from the planet Aris. Her people face a life-threatening condition that we can help alleviate. However, it requires a unique form of interaction with humans." The murmurs began immediately. Zara raised a hand for silence. "I know this is unusual, but our mission is to help those in need, no matter how unconventional the method. I ask for your cooperation and understanding." Dr. Ilara stepped forward, explaining the scientific aspects of Nira's condition. The crew listened intently, their initial skepticism gradually giving way to curiosity and concern. Nira herself took a deep breath and spoke, her voice trembling but resolute. "I don't want to be a burden, but my people have no other choice. If I do not interact with humans, I will enter hibernation and eventually die, as will others like me. We need your help." The hall fell silent, the gravity of Nira's words sinking in. Zara saw a range of emotions flicker across the crew's faces, from empathy to apprehension. "We will do everything we can to help you, Nira," Zara said, her voice steady. "We are in this together." Integrating Nira into the crew of the Celestial Voyager was easier said than done. The initial curiosity soon gave way to the reality of living and working alongside an alien with such a unique need. Zara knew that managing the crew's reactions and maintaining harmony would be critical. Commander Tariq had taken on the role of liaising with Nira, helping her understand human customs and routines. They spent hours together, discussing everything from ship protocols to personal histories. "Nira, how are you feeling today?" Tariq asked one morning as they walked through the ship's garden, a small but vibrant space filled with earth plants. "I am adjusting," Nira replied, her eyes reflecting the gentle glow of the bioluminescent flowers. "Your people are kind, but I can sense their unease." "It's a lot to take in," Tariq admitted, "but they'll come around. You just need to give them time." Meanwhile, Zara held private meetings with key crew members to address their concerns. Lieutenant Riva, ever the pragmatist, was vocal about her reservations. "Captain, with all due respect, how do we know this isn't some kind of trap?" Riva asked during one such meeting. "We have to consider the security risks." Zara leaned back in her chair, understanding Reva's perspective. I get your concerns, Reva, but Nira's condition is real. Dr. Ilara has verified it. We can't turn our backs on her people. Reva frowned but nodded. I'll do my duty, Captain, but I'll keep an eye on her. Dr. Ilara, on the other hand, was fascinated by Nira's biology. She spent hours in the lab, studying samples and running tests. Her enthusiasm was infectious, and she often shared her findings with the crew, helping to demystify Nira's condition. Nira's physiology is remarkable, Ilara explained during a briefing. Her biochemistry is fundamentally different from ours, but there are intriguing similarities. Understanding her better could lead to breakthroughs in xenobiology. As the days passed, Nira's presence became a part of daily life on the Celestial Voyager. She joined the crew in their routines, participating in training exercises and social gatherings. Her gentle nature and willingness to learn endeared her to many, though there were still those who kept their distance. One evening, as the crew gathered in the mess hall for a communal meal, Nira hesitated at the entrance. Zara noticed and waved her over. Nira, come join us, she said with a warm smile. Nira approached cautiously, taking a seat next to Zara. The conversation around the table was lively, with stories of past missions and jokes flying back and forth. Nira listened intently, occasionally asking questions that prompted laughter and explanations. Tell us more about Aris, Dr. Ilara prompted. What was it like before this condition affected your people? Nira's eyes grew wistful. Aris was beautiful. Our cities blended seamlessly with nature, and we valued harmony above all else. But this condition has changed everything. My people live in fear, isolated and desperate. The table grew quiet, the weight of Nira's words settling over them. Zara placed a reassuring hand on Nira's shoulder. We're going to help you, Nira, she said firmly. You're part of our crew now, and we take care of our own. As the evening wore on, Nira began to relax, her laughter mingling with that of the crew. It was a small but significant step towards bridging the gap between their worlds. As the days turned into weeks, the crew of the Celestial Voyager began to adapt to Nira's presence. Her gentle demeanor and eagerness to learn won over many, but not all. Lieutenant Reva remained suspicious, and a small faction within the crew shared her concerns. They viewed Nira's condition and the mission as a potential threat to their safety. One evening, Reva convened a secret meeting in the ship's lower decks. Gathered around her were a handful of crew members who shared her doubts. We need to think about the bigger picture, Reva began, her voice low and urgent. This mission is too risky. We've been attacked once already, and I fear it's only the beginning. Ensign Cole, a young but skilled technician, nodded. I understand your concerns, Lieutenant, but what do you suggest we do? Captain Quinn seems convinced that helping Nira is our duty. Reva's eyes flashed with determination. We need to isolate Nira. If she really is the key to her people's survival, then she's a liability. Our enemies will stop at nothing to capture her. The others exchanged uneasy glances. Isolating Nira went against the very principles that had brought them together as a crew, but the fear of another ambush was palpable. We should take this to the captain, suggested Petty Officer Malik. If we present our concerns logically, she might reconsider. Reva shook her head. Captain Quinn is too emotionally invested in this mission. We need to take matters into our own hands, at least until we can ensure the ship's safety. Unbeknownst to them, Commander Tariq had overheard the conversation. He waited until the meeting dispersed before confronting Reva. Lieutenant, Tariq's voice was cold and firm. You know better than to undermine the captain's orders. Reva stiffened, her hand instinctively moving to her sidearm. Commander, I was merely discussing potential risks with the crew. You're sowing dissent, Tariq retorted. We can't afford division, especially now. The captain's orders are clear, and I expect you to follow them. Reva's eyes narrowed. Understood, sir, but mark my words, this mission will bring us more trouble than we can handle. Tariq watched her leave, his mind racing. He needed to inform Captain Quinn of the growing unrest before it escalated further. The Celestial Voyager arrived at Vesper Prime, a bustling trade hub known for its diverse population and strategic location. Captain Zara Quinn hoped to gather supplies and information before continuing their journey to Aris. However, the sense of unease from the internal conflict lingered. As the crew disembarked, Zara, Tariq, and Nira headed to the central marketplace, a vibrant maze of stalls and vendors. Nira's wide-eyed wonder at the variety of alien goods and foods brought a rare smile to Zara's face. "This place is incredible," Nira said, her voice filled with awe. "I've never seen so many different species in one place." "It's one of the galaxy's crossroads," Zara replied. "But we need to stay vigilant. Vesper Prime has its share of dangers." Their mission was clear: gather supplies and avoid drawing attention. However, their presence had not gone unnoticed. The rival Auran faction, determined to capture Nira, had hired a band of mercenaries to track and ambush the celestial voyager. As Zara negotiated with a merchant, Tariq's eyes scanned the crowd. His instincts, honed from years of experience, sensed something amiss. "Captain, we need to move," Tariq whispered urgently. "We're being watched." Before Zara could respond, a group of heavily armed mercenaries surrounded them, weapons drawn. The marketplace erupted into chaos as vendors and patrons scrambled for cover. "Hand over the girl and no one gets hurt," the mercenary leader barked, his voice amplified by a helmet speaker. Zara's hand instinctively went to her sidearm. "We're not surrendering her. Back off, and no one needs to get hurt." The mercenaries opened fire, and Zara and Tariq returned fire while shielding Nira. The narrow alleys of the marketplace became a battleground as the crew of the celestial voyager rallied to their captain's side. Zara's tactical brilliance shone as she directed her crew, using the environment to their advantage. Tariq's combat skills were unmatched, and together they managed to repel the mercenaries, forcing them into a retreat. In the aftermath, Zara quickly checked on Nira, who had been protected by Tariq during the firefight. "Are you all right?" she asked, her voice tinged with concern. Nira nodded, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and admiration. "Yes, Captain. Thank you." Zara turned to her crew, who were tending to their injuries and assessing the damage. "We need to get back to the ship and leave Vesper Prime immediately. This place is compromised." As they made their way back, Zara couldn't shake the feeling that the ambush was just the beginning of a larger threat. The safety of her crew and the success of their mission depended on staying one step ahead of their enemies. Back on the celestial voyager, Zara gathered her senior officers for a debrief. "We've been targeted, and they know about Nira. We need to be more cautious moving forward." Riva, despite her earlier dissent, spoke up. "Captain, we need to reconsider our strategy. Nira's presence is putting us all at risk." Zara met Riva's gaze, her expression resolute. "We will not abandon Nira. Our mission is to help those in need, and that includes her. But we will increase security and be prepared for any future attacks." As the ship left Vesper Prime behind, the crew braced themselves for the challenges ahead. The ambush had only strengthened their resolve, and they knew that the road to Aris would be fraught with danger. In the aftermath of the ambush at Vesper Prime, the celestial voyager hurtled through space towards the Auran homeworld. The atmosphere aboard the ship was tense. The crew knew that the ambush was not an isolated incident. Captain Zara Quinn was determined to uncover the truth behind the attacks and to understand the full extent of Nira's predicament. Zara called a meeting in the ship's command center, inviting Nira, Dr. Ilara, and a few trusted senior officers. The holographic display in the center of the room projected a three-dimensional map of the galaxy, highlighting their current position and their route to Aris. "Dr. Ilara," Zara began, "you've had time to study Nira's condition extensively. What have you found?" Dr. Ilara stepped forward, her expression grave. "Captain, Nira's condition is indeed linked to her need for intimate human contact. However, there's more to it. Her people were genetically engineered by an ancient civilization known as the Eldari. The genetic mutation that causes their hibernation was a safeguard intended to ensure their dependency on another species for survival." Nira's eyes widened in shock. "Engineered? But why would they do such a thing?" Ilara sighed. The Eldari were a powerful race, known for their advanced technology and manipulation of genetic codes. It's possible they intended to use the Aurans as a means of ensuring their own survival, or as a part of some larger experiment. Unfortunately, the details are lost to history. Zara leaned forward, her mind racing. So the Aurans were not naturally evolved, but created to depend on humans. This changes everything. We need to find out more about the Eldari and their intentions. Commander Tariq, who had been silent until now, spoke up. There are rumors of ancient Eldari ruins scattered across the galaxy. If we could find one of these sites, we might uncover more about their technology and the reasons behind the Aurans' condition. Zara nodded. Then we have our next objective. We'll set a course for the nearest rumored Eldari site, but we must remain vigilant. Our enemies will not rest. The celestial voyager altered its course, heading towards an uncharted sector of space where the ruins were said to be located. The journey was fraught with challenges, from navigating treacherous asteroid fields to evading pirate patrols. Despite the obstacles, the crew's resolve never wavered. One night, as the ship sailed through the silent void, Nira and Zara found themselves in the observation deck. The vast expanse of stars stretched out before them, a reminder of the infinite mysteries the galaxy held. "Captain," Nira began hesitantly, "I never imagined my people's history would be so complex. I feel like a pawn in a game I don't understand." Zara placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You're not a pawn, Nira. You're a key to unlocking a mystery that has spanned millennia. And together, we'll find the answers." The celestial voyager approached the uncharted planet, an isolated world with a harsh rocky surface and an atmosphere that glowed with an eerie green hue. According to the ship's sensors, deep beneath its surface lay an ancient Eldari ruin, potentially holding the secrets they sought. As they prepared to land, Zara briefed her away team. "We'll split into two groups. Dr. Ilara and Nira will come with me to explore the ruins. Tariq, you stay on the ship and keep it ready for a quick departure. Reva, you'll lead the perimeter security team." The crew descended to the planet's surface in a small shuttle, the rough terrain making for a bumpy landing. Once on solid ground, Zara, Ilara, and Nira made their way to the entrance of the ruins, a massive stone structure partially buried in the rocky landscape. Inside, the air was thick with the weight of centuries. The walls were lined with intricate carvings depicting the history of the Eldari and their genetic experiments. As they ventured deeper, they encountered a series of chambers filled with ancient machinery and holographic interfaces. Dr. Ilara's eyes lit up with excitement as she activated one of the consoles. "This is incredible. The technology here is far beyond anything we've seen. If we can decode this information, we might find a way to help Nira's people." Nira approached one of the carvings, her fingers tracing the patterns. "These images, they show my ancestors being altered by the Eldari. It's all true." Zara joined her, studying the carvings with a mixture of fascination and anger. "The Eldari played God with your people, but now we have the chance to right their wrongs." Suddenly the ground shook violently. An alarm blared through their communicators. It was Tariq. "Captain, we have incoming ships, the same mercenaries who attacked us at Vesper Prime. They must have tracked us here." Zara's mind raced. "We need to get back to the ship, now." As they hurried back to the shuttle, the mercenaries' ships descended from the sky, weapons blazing. Reva and her security team engaged the attackers, buying Zara and her group precious time. The battle that ensued was fierce and chaotic. Laser fire illuminated the night, and the ground shook with the impact of explosions. Zara and her team fought their way back to the shuttle, with Nira displaying surprising courage as she helped Dr. Ilara carry vital data crystals they had retrieved from the ruins. "Captain, we can't hold them off much longer," Reva's voice crackled through the comms. "We're almost there," Zara shouted back. As they boarded the shuttle, Tariq's voice came through urgently. "Get ready for immediate takeoff. We're under heavy fire." The shuttle lifted off just as a mercenary ship fired a missile in their direction. The explosion rocked the shuttle, but Tariq's expert piloting skills kept them steady. They ascended rapidly, the ruins and the attacking ships shrinking below them. Back on the celestial voyager, Zara ordered a full retreat. "Get us out of here, Tariq. Maximum warp." The ship leapt into hyperspace, leaving the mercenaries and the planet behind. The crew's relief was palpable, but Zara knew their mission was far from over. In the medical bay, Nira sat with Dr. Ilara, who was examining the data crystals. These contain detailed records of the Eldari's experiments, Ilara said. It will take time to decode everything, but I'm confident we can find a solution. Nira nodded, her eyes filled with determination. Thank you, Dr. Ilara, and thank you, Captain. I know the risks you're taking for my people. Zara smiled. We're in this together, Nira. We'll find a way to save your people and put an end to the Eldari's legacy of manipulation. As the celestial Voyager continued its journey, the crew's bond grew stronger, united by their shared mission. The race against time had begun, and they were determined to uncover the secrets of the Eldari and ensure Nira's survival. The celestial Voyager had narrowly escaped the mercenaries' attack, and now the crew was on their way to another uncharted planet, rumored to house even more ancient Eldari ruins. This time, they were more prepared and determined to find a definitive solution for Nira's people. As the ship approached the planet, Zara gathered her team for a final briefing. This planet is our best hope, she said, her voice firm. The data we retrieved from the last site hinted at a central repository of Eldari knowledge here. We need to be thorough and quick. The planet's surface was barren and rugged, marked by deep canyons and towering rock formations. The team landed near the entrance to a vast underground complex, hidden beneath the desolate landscape. Dr. Ilara, armed with her scientific equipment, took point alongside Zara and Nira. Tariq and Reva led the security team, ensuring they were ready for any threats. As they ventured into the depths of the ruins, they encountered complex Eldari machinery and holographic displays that flickered to life at their approach. This place is a treasure trove of information, Ilara marveled, her eyes wide with excitement. If we can access the main database, we might find exactly what we need. Zara nodded, her focus sharp. Let's split up to cover more ground. Reva, you take half the team and secure the perimeter. Tariq, stay with us and help Ilara with the database. The ruins were a labyrinth of ancient technology and forgotten knowledge. As Zara and her team moved deeper into the complex, they encountered several automated defense systems, remnants of Eldari security measures. Tariq's quick thinking and combat skills were crucial in disabling these threats, allowing them to progress further. After hours of navigating through the complex, they finally reached a massive chamber filled with towering data columns and intricate machinery. Dr. Ilara set to work immediately, connecting her equipment to the Eldari systems. As she worked, the chamber hummed with energy, and holographic displays began to activate, revealing vast amounts of data. Nira stood in awe, her eyes reflecting the glowing displays. This is incredible. It's like seeing my people's history unfold before my eyes. Ilara's fingers flew over her console. I've found something. These records detail the genetic manipulation performed by the Eldari, including the dependency on human contact. There's also a section on potential solutions they were developing before their civilization fell. Zara's heart raced. Can you access it? Ilara nodded, her expression determined. I'm working on it. Give me a few more minutes. Suddenly, an alarm blared, echoing through the chamber. Reva's voice crackled through the comms. Captain, we've got company. Mercenaries incoming, and they're heavily armed. Zara cursed under her breath. Tariq, prepare to defend this position. Ilara, we need that data now. Tariq and the security team took defensive positions around the chamber, readying their weapons. The ground trembled as the mercenaries breached the entrance, their weapons firing in a barrage of laser fire. The chamber erupted into chaos, but Tariq and his team held their ground, returning fire with precision. Ilara worked frantically, her eyes glued to her console. Almost there. Just a little longer. Nira watched in fear and determination, her mind racing. Is there anything I can do to help? Zara shook her head, keeping her focus on the battle. Stay close and stay safe. We need you alive, Nira. Finally, Ilara shouted in triumph. Got it. I've downloaded the solution data. We can leave now. Zara didn't need to be told twice. Tariq, we're pulling out. Cover our retreat. The team fought their way back through the ruins, the mercenaries hot on their heels. They reached the surface and sprinted towards their shuttle, laser fire whizzing past them. As they boarded the shuttle, Tariq fired the engines, and they lifted off just as the mercenaries closed in. Back on the celestial Voyager, Zara ordered a jump to hyperspace, putting as much distance between them and their pursuers as possible. As the ship sped through the stars, the crew gathered in the command center, eager to hear what Ilara had found. Dr. Ilara connected her equipment to the ship's main computer, displaying the Eldari data on the central screen. This data contains a comprehensive solution to the genetic manipulation. We can reverse the dependency and save Nira's people. Nira's eyes filled with tears of relief and hope. Thank you, Dr. Ilara. Thank you, everyone. You've given us a chance at survival. Zara smiled, her heart swelling with pride. This is what we do, Nira. Now let's get to work. With the Eldari data in hand, the crew of the Celestial Voyager set a course for the Auran homeworld. The atmosphere aboard the ship was a mix of excitement and tension. They knew the stakes were high, and time was of the essence. As they approached Auris, Zara called a meeting in the command center. We have the solution, but we must proceed with caution. The rival Auran faction will stop at nothing to prevent us from helping Nira's people. We need to be ready for anything. Commander Tariq nodded. Our security protocols are in place, and the crew is prepared for any potential threats. Lieutenant Riva, however, still harbored doubts. Captain, what if the rival faction has infiltrated our ranks? We've already faced internal dissent. We need to ensure that everyone aboard is loyal. Zara frowned. We've vetted everyone, Riva, but your point is valid. Stay vigilant and report any suspicious behavior immediately. As the ship descended into the atmosphere of Auris, the landscape below revealed a world in crisis. The once thriving cities were now shadows of their former selves, and the desperation of the Auran people was palpable. Nira stood on the bridge, her eyes filled with determination. We're so close, I can feel it. The Celestial Voyager landed in a secure area, and Zara, Ilara, Nira, and a team of scientists and security personnel disembarked. They were greeted by members of the Auran Council, who had been briefed on the situation. Counselor Yarrick, a stern yet compassionate leader, stepped forward. Captain Quinn, we are grateful for your assistance. We've prepared a secure facility where you can work on administering the cure. As they moved towards the facility, Zara couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Her instincts proved correct when an explosion rocked the ground beneath them, throwing the group into chaos. Ambush! Tariq shouted, drawing his weapon. Protect the captain and Nira! The rival Auran faction had launched a surprise attack, their forces converging on the facility. Amidst the confusion, Lieutenant Reva revealed her true allegiance. She drew her weapon and aimed it at Zara. Drop your weapon, Reva, Zara commanded, her voice cold and steady. Reva's eyes were filled with regret and resolve. I'm sorry, Captain, I can't let this mission succeed. My orders were clear. Before Zara could react, Reva fired. The shot missed Zara by a hair's breadth, but the ensuing firefight left the crew scattered. Tariq tackled Reva, wrestling her to the ground and disarming her, but not before taking a hit to his shoulder. Get to the facility, Tariq shouted through gritted teeth. I'll handle this traitor. Zara and Nira sprinted towards the facility, Ilara close behind. Inside, they found the laboratory prepared for administering the cure. Ilara quickly set to work, inputting the Eldari data into the Auran medical systems. Outside, the battle raged on. The rival faction was determined to stop the cure from being administered. Zara and Nira worked frantically to prepare the first batch, knowing that every second counted. Suddenly, the doors burst open, and a group of armed mercenaries stormed in. Zara stood her ground, weapon drawn. You're not stopping us. The mercenaries opened fire, and Zara returned fire with precision. As the battle ensued, Nira moved to protect Ilara, who was focused on the delicate procedure. One mercenary aimed his weapon at Nira, but before he could fire, Zara stepped in, taking the hit meant for Nira. No! Nira screamed, rushing to Zara's side as the mercenaries were finally subdued by reinforcements. Zara, bleeding and in pain, looked up at Nira with a weak smile. Finish the cure, Nira. Save your people. With tears in her eyes, Nira nodded and helped Ilara complete the process. The first dose of the cure was administered successfully, and the data was transmitted to other medical facilities across Auris. Tariq, having subdued Riva, entered the facility just in time to see the cure taking effect. "Captain, we did it. Nira's people will survive." Zara, struggling to stay conscious, nodded. "Good work, everyone." As the cure spread throughout the Auran population, the effects were immediate. Those on the brink of hibernation began to recover, and hope was restored to a once desperate people. In the days that followed, Zara's condition stabilized, thanks to Dr. Alara's medical expertise. The crew of the Celestial Voyager was hailed as heroes, their bravery and sacrifice ensuring the survival of an entire civilization. Nira stood before the Auran Council, her eyes shining with gratitude. "On behalf of my people, I thank you all. The Celestial Voyager has given us a future." Zara, still recovering but resolute, smiled. "It's what we do, Nira. We explore, we protect, and we help those in need." The mission had tested the crew's limits, revealing both the best and the worst within them. But in the end, their unity and determination had prevailed, ensuring that Nira's people would live to see another day. As the Celestial Voyager hovered above Auris, the crew celebrated their hard-won victory. However, Zara knew that their mission was not yet complete. The rival Auran faction had been temporarily thwarted, but they remained a looming threat. With Nira's people beginning to recover, the stakes were higher than ever. Captain Zara Quinn called a final strategy meeting in the command center. Around the table sat Commander Tariq, Dr. Ilara, Nira, and other key officers. A holographic display showed the position of enemy ships closing in on Auris. "Intel confirms that the rival faction is rallying their forces for a full-scale assault," Zara began, her voice steady despite the tension. "They won't stop until they've destroyed the cure, and us along with it." Tariq, his shoulder bandaged from the previous battle, spoke up. "We need to strike first, take the fight to them before they reach the planet. If we can disable their flagship, the rest of their fleet will fall into disarray." Nira, now a symbol of hope for her people, looked determined. "I'll do whatever it takes to help. My people can't go through this again." Zara nodded. "We'll need all the help we can get. Prepare the ship for battle. This is our final stand." The crew sprang into action, each member taking their positions and preparing for the imminent clash. The Celestial Voyager moved out to intercept the approaching fleet, its weapon systems primed and ready. The enemy flagship, a colossal vessel bristling with weaponry, led the charge. As the Celestial Voyager closed the distance, Zara ordered the first volley. Energy beams and torpedoes streaked through the void, striking enemy ships and creating explosions that lit up the dark expanse of space. "Direct hit on their forward batteries," Tariq reported, "but their flagship is still operational." Zara's mind raced as she formulated a new plan. "Prepare boarding parties. We're going to take their ship from the inside." As the Celestial Voyager maneuvered closer, a daring boarding action was launched. Zara led the team herself, accompanied by Tariq, Nira, and a squad of elite soldiers. They breached the enemy flagship's hull and fought their way through the corridors, encountering fierce resistance at every turn. "Push forward," Zara shouted over the din of battle. "We need to reach the bridge." The corridors were a chaotic battleground, filled with the sounds of blaster fire and the shouts of combatants. Nira, despite her inexperience, fought bravely alongside the crew, her determination fueling her actions. Finally, they reached the bridge where the enemy commander awaited them. A towering figure in dark armor, he radiated authority and menace. "You dare board my ship?" he sneered. "Your efforts are futile." Zara stepped forward, her blaster aimed steadily at the commander. "It's over. Surrender now, and we can end this without more bloodshed." The commander laughed, a cold, mirthless sound. "Your naivety is astounding, Captain." Before he could issue an order, Zara fired, a precise shot that took the commander down. The bridge erupted into chaos as the remaining officers scrambled to respond, but the Celestial Voyager's crew quickly took control. With the enemy flagship's command structure in disarray, Zara ordered Tariq to disable their main systems. "Shut down their weapons and engines. Let's end this." Tariq worked swiftly, and soon the massive ship's power flickered and dimmed. The rest of the enemy fleet, seeing their flagship disabled, began to retreat, their morale shattered. Back on the celestial Voyager, cheers erupted as the enemy fleet fled. Zara and her team returned to their ship, exhausted but triumphant. The aftermath of the final battle brought a wave of relief and jubilation across Oris. The rival faction had been defeated, and Nira's people were on the path to recovery. The celestial Voyager was hailed as a symbol of hope and resilience, not just by the Aurans, but by other civilizations aware of their struggle. Captain Zara Quinn stood on the bridge looking out at the planet below. The scars of battle were still visible, but so was the renewed vitality of a people saved from the brink of extinction. Nira joined her, her expression one of profound gratitude. "Captain, words cannot express what you've done for us. My people owe you and your crew everything." Zara smiled warmly. "You owe us nothing, Nira. We were just doing what we believe in, helping those in need." As the days passed, the crew of the celestial Voyager assisted the Aurans in stabilizing their society and distributing the cure. Dr. Elara worked tirelessly with Auran scientists, sharing knowledge and ensuring the cure's effectiveness. Counselor Jarek, now a firm ally, addressed the crew in a formal ceremony. "Captain Quinn, Commander Tariq, Dr. Elara, and the entire crew of the celestial Voyager, your bravery and dedication have given us a future. You will always be honored here on Aris." Zara nodded appreciatively. "Thank you, Counselor Jarek. We are proud to have stood by you." With the crisis averted and peace restored, the celestial Voyager prepared to embark on new adventures. The crew gathered for one last briefing before departure, a sense of camaraderie and accomplishment filling the room. "Captain," Tariq said, his voice reflecting the respect and friendship that had grown between them, "what's our next mission?" Zara looked around at her crew, each face a testament to their shared journey. "We continue our mission to explore, to learn, and to help those in need. There are countless worlds out there, each with their own challenges. And we will be there, ready to make a difference." As the ship lifted off, leaving Oris behind, the crew felt a renewed sense of purpose. The galaxy was vast, filled with wonders and perils alike. But together they knew they could face anything. Nira stood beside Zara, looking out at the stars. "Wherever you go, Captain, know that you have friends on Oris, and you have my eternal gratitude." Zara placed a hand on Nira's shoulder. "Thank you, Nira. And remember, you're always welcome aboard the celestial Voyager." With that, the ship leapt into hyperspace, a beacon of hope and unity in the vast expanse of the galaxy. The story of their courage and compassion would be remembered, inspiring others to stand together and face the unknown with unwavering resolve.